Sam? Sam, mi senti?
Yes, ti sento.
Mi sono collegato anche con un altro, forse c'è scritto Glauco
Sì,
Veduti.
Glauco, sì,
Puoi fare rename tu? Perché io non riesco dal mobile phone.
Ok.
Mama Chiara Lubich from Thailand, Luce Adente. Tutto tutti, bene, sempre uno. Ciao, uno.
นี่ครับพระอาจารย์ครับ
นะอยู่ด้วย
ครับสวัสดีครับอาจารย์ท่านใหม่ครับ
We are one heart, one soul.
We have one dream,
One goal. We have one life, one chance
to make this whole world a home for everyone.
We are one heart,
One soul, we have one dream,
one goal.
we have one life,
One big chance to make this whole wide world a home for everyone. One heart, one soul, one dream, one
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's program. Just a few technical details before we begin. For those who haven't yet changed your name on your Zoom video, please change it now. The first 4 letters would be the name of your country. For example, INDO for Indonesia, VIET for Vietnam, SING for Singapore, and so on, and then your name. This will help us to identify you. As I'm sure you know, we want to make sure our program is able to run smoothly without interruptions. For the same reason, once the program starts proper, all participants' video will be turned off and microphones will be muted until the end of the program.
Since we also have people of several languages, so those who speak in English, please ensure now that you're on a language channel before we begin. So you can choose which country, but you can choose like Cambodia, you can choose or English or Thai. For Thai, it is you have to click Korean. Okay? So Thai is Korean, English is English. Indonesia, you can choose the German as you can click also in, just leave it English, or you can click Thai, or Korean for Thai, and Malaysia, you can listen to English or even in Chinese. And Myanmar, you just click Russia. Okay, Russia would be for Myanmar. And for Singapore, okay, you can choose English or Chinese. For Timor-Leste, yes, you can listen to English. For Thai, you just click Korean. Okay. Vietnamese, you just click French, and you will hear the translation in Vietnamese. And also, we have also Japanese translation. Thank you.
So let's begin. Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle. I'm a member of the Focolare Movement in Singapore. I'm married with a 5-year-old daughter, Natalia. Now, the song you heard just before we began is titled One Heart, One Soul. It's the theme song for this event, and we'll get to hear it again during the break. So it was composed by Joy, who is a Filipina pianist and song composer living in Indonesia. And she is singing it together with some members of the Focolare in different countries, including you, Bancha.
Yes, okay. So, Sawadee krap. Hello, everyone. So my name is Bancha. I'm also a member of Focolare Movement, and I come from Chiang Rai, north of Thailand. And I work in the Italian Trade Agency in Bangkok.
Just a few words about this online event. It's been put together with contributions and well wishes from our friends all over the region. And as you would know, we aren't professional speakers or performers. So we ask you to enjoy this moment with an open heart and mind. And if there are any hiccups or technical issues, please be patient with us while we get it sorted out.
So special greetings to His Excellencies, Venerables, distinguished and honored guests who take your time to be with us today. We're here together this morning for this very important event. We are celebrating 100 years since our beloved Chiara Lubich, who founded the Focolare Movement, was born. During Chiara's 88 years on earth, she did many things to contribute to the prayer of Jesus that all may be one, to bring the idea of unity and universal brotherhood to communities all over the world.
So the Focolare Movement, known officially in the Catholic Church as the Work of Mary, was founded by Chiara Lubich in 1943. We are very happy that all of us are gathered here today from more than 10 different countries in Southeast Asia and abroad. We are also from different religions, and just to spend these couple of hours together to celebrate Chiara and to hear how much her life has changed ours. So Chiara was born in Italy in 1920 and could pretty much speak only Italian, but she has conquered the hearts of many of us in Asia through her concrete expressions of universal love.
The Focolare Movement is really a big family with brothers and sisters throughout the whole world. here in Southeast Asia of our zone, we come from 10 different countries. So maybe we check a little bit if you are there, okay? So Brunei, I think we say like Selamat Datang, right? And then Cambodia, Susday, Indonesia, Selamat Siang,
Selamat datang.
Selamat Datang, okay. Other Laos, are you there? Sabaidi.
Hello.
Yes, Sabaidi. And Malaysia, Selamat Datang.
And from Myanmar, Mingalaba. Singapore, hello.
Hello, Minglaba.
Hello.
From Timor, hello, Bonjour. And from Thailand, Sawadika. And Vietnam, Xin Chào. Yeah.
A special welcome also to our friends from other countries. We have Mr. Iwamoto of the Nagasaki Church of Ritual Kosekai, a Buddhist movement from Japan. Konnichiwa. Friends from India. I know that. Also from Pakistan, Assalamualaikum. From the Philippines, Mabuhay. And also from USA. Some representatives from Europe are joining our Zoom meeting later too.
So now we will be turning off all participants' video and microphones will be muted until the end of the program. Now we've greeted everyone.
Yes. There was a plan to meet each other, all people from these countries in Bangkok, Thailand, for the great celebrations, but plans have changed due to COVID-19. Still, all family members in this zone thought together to remember Chiara.
Yes, and so now we would like to invite Glauco and Veronica, who are our delegates of our zone of Southeast Asia, to say something special about this day. And they are joining us from Bangkok.
So a special welcome again to everyone linked with us today. With great joy, we officially open today's event to celebrate the centenary of Chiara Lubich, foundress of the Focolare Movement. This situation of the pandemic will enter into history as a moment where the world has stopped by a virus. Many people have lost a lot. Some their loved ones, others their jobs, plans for the future. But through this adversity, we have learned to adapt and to grow. One of the adaptation is the use of the knowledge and technological advancements. Many of us are unable to travel to Bangkok as was planned. But via internet, this meeting is accessible to even more people than we could have imagined. We are now linked to 9 countries in Southeast Asia and to Europe and other countries. And from these countries, friends from different religions, age and professions that have the same desire to be part of this new world that Chiara has shown us. And that perhaps would not have been able to make it to Bangkok for this celebration. 100 years ago, God gave to humanity the immense gift of Chiara Lubich. Today we are all here together to celebrate and to meet Chiara, alive, through her inspirations, life experiences, and artistic presentations. We all know that Chiara's great dream was unity, and she spent her whole life living for a united world, for universal fraternity. Today, we are together in this Zoom meeting because we want to be an active part of Chiara's dream, building together a better and more united world.
So this year, all over the world, there will be many events to celebrate Chiara's centenary. And the common motto is celebrate to meet. This is very significant. We do not want only to remember her as a person who lived in the past, but we also have the possibility of meeting her present among us. Chiara is now in heaven, but she continues to live in some way in the Focolare Movement, in this big family scattered throughout the world, keeping her legacy alive. Today, we will listen to different life experiences. We will meet people who try to put into practice Chiara's dreams in their daily life. Chiara received a gift from God, the charism of unity. She used to call it simply the ideal. It is a gift of light and of love. It is a charism of life because it gave Chiara a new vision of the world and of humanity. Moreover, it opened up understanding in many fields of human knowledge. In fact, Chiara was being honored with many awards, honorary degrees in various disciplines, the UNESCO Prize for Education for Peace, and others. Chiara always used to say that these awards should not go so much to her as a person, but to the charism she received. It is also a charism of love. Everything started with the discovery that each one of us is loved by God, the Father of everyone. And as such, humanity is one family, without distinction of race, religious belief, nationality, or social status. Chiara was able to share this idea. She helped people to meet and to share. And this generated a great family that is now present throughout the world. In our program today, we will focus on two aspects of Chiara's message: interfaith dialogue and the aspect of social commitment. A heartfelt welcome again to everyone. Thank you for being here with us, and we wish you a good and inspiring meeting with Chiara.
So, this day's program is dedicated to Chiara. Let's start with a glimpse from a talk she has given back in 1982 in Switzerland. In this short video, Chiara will reveal us one of the very first and fundamental ideas, how to build unity with God and with one another. Now, let's open our heart and our mind to listen to her message.
Then, slowly, little by little, it seemed that the Lord suggested to us the first ideas on how to build unity. And these are important. And now I'm going to share them with you so that we can all go out of here knowing how to build unity. These ideas are written on a small sheet of paper that we still have. Many things have been burned and destroyed, but this set of notes has remained. Just notes of a brief talk we used at that time among ourselves. In these notes, we find this idea that we must always go beyond a purely human way of seeing things and look at all persons in a supernatural way. If we look at Jesus with the eyes of little children, we can see that basically he asked only two things, which are ultimately one: that all people, everyone, black and white, rich and poor, ugly and beautiful, all persons are children of the one Father and are brothers and sisters to one another. This is the first idea that can already revolutionize our souls if we are sensitive to the supernatural. Universal brotherhood, which frees us from all forms of slavery, because we are slaves of the divisions between rich and poor, between nationalities, father and children, between black and white, between races, between nationalities, even between different cantons of the same nation. We are slaves, we criticize one another, and there are many obstacles. No, the first idea is to free ourselves from all these forms of slavery, and to see in everyone, even in my little boy, even in that woman who talks too much, even in that old man who doesn't make any sense, even in that poor person, even in that one there. But is it possible? Yes, in everyone. In everyone. In everyone. We must see them all as possible candidates for unity with God and for unity with one another. We must really open our hearts and destroy all the barriers. We must put into our hearts universal brotherhood. I live for universal brotherhood.
Very straight and clear, right? I listened to these words many times, but always, also now, they kindle in me the desire to live like that. At the beginning, Chiara didn't think about starting a movement. She just wants to live for unity. But as we know, love is contagious, and many people join her. For our event today, we received special greetings from the International Center of our movement, which is in Rome, Italy. Our president, Maria Emmaus Voce, will conclude our program later. Now, I would like to introduce Father Jesus Moran, who is our co-president. He is Spanish and has lived many years in South America before being elected co-president 6 years ago. He has a degree in philosophy and a doctorate in theology. So let us listen to him.
Carissimi tutti.
Dearest everyone, I'm happy for this opportunity that you have given me to participate in today's celebration of Chiara Lubich's centenary by reflecting on a very challenging theme: inspiration and innovation for a united world. In fact, the ideal of a united world is more urgent than ever, and therefore extremely relevant. But it certainly requires inspiration and innovation. We know that the inspiration for us comes from the charism of the woman born 100 years ago, who received from God a special light to deeply penetrate into the mystery of unity. This mystery represents the deepest aspiration of humanity, and its roots are immersed in the same reality of God Himself. Innovation, to answer the demands and the call to unity, that requires a profound listening to the sufferings of men and women of our time in this dramatic hour of the world. Innovation that requires closeness and the ability to take care, to take responsibility, to make oneself one with everyone, profoundly, as Chiara said, in dialogue and also in action. Dear friends, I wish that you would experience a profound moment in joy and fullness of mutual love among yourselves. All the best.
Thank you, Father Jesus, for your words of encouragement. Now, as many of us are experiencing, Asia is a vast melting pot of diverse ethnicities, faiths, and beliefs. In this part of the world in particular, the Focolare movement has a very special role to play in interreligious dialogue. So at this point, we'd like to introduce Mr. Roberto Catalano. He's the head of the Office for Interreligious Dialogue at the Center of the Focolare Movement, which is in Rome. Mr. Catalano has been working for interreligious dialogue for the last 25 years, and 12 of those years were in India. Now he's going to share with us Chiara Lubich's way towards interreligious dialogue. Mr. Catalano is going to give us some insight into her method of love through dialogue and why so many religious leaders and communities are part of this way.
It may seem mysterious that the centenary celebration for Chiara Lubich's birth coincides with a pandemia which appears to turn our world upside down. Our planet and all of us will never be the same, but we have to be sincere. In all probabilities, this context is the most significant in order to remember Chiara, and this for two reasons. First of all, Chiara herself, in her lifetime, encountered events which caused a sudden and unforeseen change of direction to the world. It's enough to think of the Second World War, which offered a background for spiritual discoveries leading to the birth of the Focolare movement. In the following decades, she went through the Cold War, with the danger of an atomic confrontation, the appearance of terrorism, which found its climax in the 9/11 World Trade Center attack. And we cannot underestimate other phenomena like the growing process of globalization, the migration waves, and the progressive deterioration of our planet conditions. In all these dramatic events, Chiara discovered opportunities to work for a more just and united world. And this is the second reason to appreciate this year's celebration. In terribly challenging phases of human history, she missed no chance to encourage whoever she met to join hands in working for universal brotherhood. In this way, she was able to change people and situations. You never come out of a meeting with Chiara the way you entered into it. This comment was made by a well-known Italian personality who claims to have no faith. Sergio Zavoli, this is his name, met with Chiara several times for public conferences where they discussed a wide range of topics. His description effectively gives us an idea about who Chiara was. She had been a school teacher, and way back in the 40s of last century, she used to fascinate and attract her students on the mountain valleys of her region around the city of Trent. Later, she met with hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. They were of different ethnic groups, cultures, religions, economic sectors of society, of most varied professions. Chiara was a fascinating figure for all these people. No one remained indifferent to Chiara's word, gaze, or even to her simple presence. And Chiara too was never indifferent to anyone she encountered. Each and every one she came across were unique people, and she treated them accordingly. I lived in a monastery for 60 years, and I have been to India too, but I never heard such beautiful things. This was the comment of a Thai Buddhist nun after listening to Chiara in Chiang Mai in 1997. Everything she said flew out of her heart with spontaneity. This is exactly what we need in the world today. This was the impression released by a young African-American Muslim lady in Harlem, New York City, after Chiara spoke in a mosque. She was the first woman, Catholic and white, to do so. That is why Imam W.D. Mohammed, the leader who had invited her to address his congregation, commented, "It is a great day for us today here in Harlem. History has been made." In Buenos Aires, Argentina, Elias Viklich, after the encounter of Chiara with his Jewish community pointed out, "This woman brings a new opening. For us human beings, there is no other chance than the one of acknowledging that we are human beings. Last century has seen few people in love with the absolute as much as Chiara was, but it is also true that few people have been in love with a human being as much as Chiara. Her burning desire had always been to love the absolute immensely and to make the absolute being loved by as many people as possible. But this never meant to forget human beings. For her, reaching out to the Almighty always meant meeting with men and women, Catholics like her, but also other Christians, Hindus and Buddhists, Jews and Muslims, even people without religious affiliation, like many are in the West. What changed Chiara's heart? She herself reveals it in one of the most beautiful pages she had ever written. I'm a person passing through this world. I have seen many beautiful and good things, and have always been attracted only by them. One day I saw a light. It seemed to be more beautiful than other beautiful things. I followed it. I realized it was the truth. As her name, Chiara, Claire, say, she was very sensitive to the light. And when she met with people of other religious and cultural traditions, especially in the East, she appreciated their sensitiveness for the light. She wrote and spoke about it. Above all, she was a witness to it. And it is striking to notice that often brothers and sisters of the Oriental traditions spoke of light while referring to their relationship with her. And they continue to do so even after death. I remember an outstanding Hindu scholar who had never met with Chiara. At the end of a symposium held 2 months after Chiara passing away, she shared with the other participants the strong impression she had every day while joining the different sections. She felt, she said, the conference room was fully illuminated of pure wisdom, thanks to Chiara's experience, which represents an inner light in each of us. In little longer than 60 years, Chiara designed a different geography throughout the 5 continents. She had not come in contact only with languages, climates, colors, and places. She met with a universe which lives in the heart and the mind of every man and woman in the world, and this means cultures and religions. Chiara's secret laid in valuing each and every one as persons who are unique. Someone rightly said that what was most striking in this Italian woman was the absolute absence of prejudice. She was trustful and fully open to anyone who was in front of her. In this way, she was the source of inspiration for a global trip among all cultures and religions. Many of their followers joined together in a common pilgrimage while maintaining their own characteristics and traditions. This gave life to an extended spiritual family around the planet. What was the secret for all this? Chiara called it art of loving, which she mastered as no one else. It consists of a few points which everyone can try to put into practice in our daily life. It is first of all a matter of loving and being compassionate towards everyone without making any distinction whatsoever between those who are friendly and those who are not, the ones of my own country and the foreign ones, those who follow my religions and whoever believes different from me. For Chiara, whatever man or woman she found herself in front of was a unique opportunity and she never missed it. All this originated from a strong experience she made as a Christian, the one of God who is love. Therefore, He is the Father of all human beings, and consequently we have to treat each other as brothers and sisters by following the golden rule, which reads, "Do to the others what you would like the others do unto you." Similarly, Lord Buddha said, "Hurt no other in ways that you yourself would find hurtful." But how was Chiara perceived by people of other cultures and religions? Some, especially in Thailand, saw in her a mother. Luce Ardente and the great master Ajahn Tong, who invited Chiara to address monks and nuns in Chiang Mai, defined her as a very high mother, as she has always love, which she fully shares. She offers love to all people in the world, making no distinction of nationalities, religions, languages, and cultures. If in every country there could be such a mother, the whole world would be at peace. Others considered Chiara as a spiritual leader. Imam W.D. Muhammad did not feel shy to define her as a leader for the whole Afro-American movement. She is God's special creature, he said, a great leader of the Focolare who now leads also members of other communities, not only Christians and Catholics. She is now the leader for members of the Muslim community too. Among the Jewish people, some expressed a very significant wish: may Chiara become a blessing for the entire world. And finally, during her funeral, a Pakistani Muslim acknowledged her spirit bound faithful of different religions altogether. She belongs to the humankind, to the universe. We may ask ourselves how Chiara managed all this. She herself gave the answer in London in 1977 when she received the Templeton Prize for the Progress of Religion. While quoting St. John of the Cross, a Catholic saint, she said, "Where there is no love, put love and you'll find love." This was her secret, to put love everywhere and with everyone beyond all barriers. That is why her experience of dialogue was never a pre-planned project, but rather a prophetical vision, and she played a true role model in showing how to dialogue.
That was Roberta Catalano, the head of the Office for Interreligious Dialogue at the center of the Focolare Movement. Chiara always had a special love for everyone, but most especially for children. As a way of expressing their gratitude towards Chiara for her life, work, and the charism of unity, the Gen 3 and the Gen 4, the children of the Focolare, would like to share with us a special presentation of Chiara, You Go Around the World. This has been put together by the Chiang Mai Focolare community. Let us welcome. So, Chiang Mai, are you there? Yes, you say something. That's written Sawadee means hello. That's nice. Now we go to the presentation they have prepared for us.
Father, I do ask you, make it so that all may be one.
that was very lovely presentation, right? Thank you very much. So now we have a great honor to listen to Cardinal Francis Xavier Kriengsak Kowinvanit from the Archdiocese of Bangkok, who got to know this spirituality of unity since he was a seminarian while he was studying in Rome, Italy, back in 1975. He is also the coordinator of all the bishops throughout the world who adhere to the spirituality of unity started by Chiara Lubich.
For the occasion of this centenary of Chiara Lubich, I am rejoicing with the Focolare Movement all over the world that celebrate this occasion throughout the year, especially here in Thailand and all the countries in Southeast Asia. We are united on this occasion to remember the life of Chiara and the charisma of unity that God gives humanity through her. For more than 70 years since the Focolare Movement was born. In this moment of the pandemic of the coronavirus, there is a new normal way of living. We cannot gather together physically, but with the advanced technology, we can overcome this limit and makes it possible to celebrate and convey the message of this immense love of the Father that gives this new normal a new meaning through Chiara Lubich's way of love and unity. I am glad to be part of this celebration and to be with you all today. 2 weeks ago, I had a chance to see a video conference of the Focolare. I was delighted to see Chiara Lubich when she was in Chiang Mai 23 years ago. Together with the Grand Master Thong Siri Mengkalo, the abbot of Jung Thong Temple, Reverend Thong Ratana, and many other people. There were Buddhist monks, nuns, and members of the Focolare in the great occasion of dialogue. In fact, before that event, she also had an audience with the Supreme Patriarch of Thailand, and when she was also had the chance to meet Cardinal Michael Micha Kitbunchu, the Archbishop of Bangkok. I was there in Chiang Mai to translate for Chiara at the Grand Master Thong Temple, in the Buddhist University, and in Rampong Temple. I still recall the experience very vividly in my mind, and it has always left a mark in my heart. I witnessed the joy and attitude of openness towards one another and experienced a great collaboration of all Buddhist brothers and sisters. High-ranking monks, reverend monks, student monks, Buddhist nuns, and the Christians from the Focolare Movement. Last Friday, I meditated on Chiara's thought about interreligious dialogue as follows. Our interreligious dialogue has its characteristics, which is based on making ourselves one with others. This does not only mean that opening your heart and listening to others attentively and respect others' opinions, but it also demands a complete self-emptiness in order to be able to understand others. There is a saying, a condition to be able to understand other religion is that one has to put on the other's heart and look at the world and its realities with his or her point of view and understand what it means to be Hindu, a Muslim, and a Buddhist. Interreligious dialogue is a very effective way of relating with the others. In interreligious dialogue, each one has to put oneself on the same level with the other we are in dialogue with. We really desire to learn and understand them. When the other we are in dialogue with talks and we listen to them, we bring ourselves into an incorporation and we try to exert all effort to understand their point of view deeply within ourselves. As a consequence, we will understand that we can talk about our beliefs and make them understand it with our words, our language, in our way of thinking. Certainly those people whom we are together in the interreligious dialogue can experience sincerely our love in every small way. They will be aware of their own dignity and will be ready to listen to the other during the dialogue. Therefore, they will be interested to ask us to share something of our belief, and we can share our belief with free heart. This is a proclamation of the good news, which respects others' way of thinking, belief, and way of practicing their religion. As Pope John Paul II said, that this is the proclamation of the good news, without wanting to win over those we are in dialogue with or convincing them to change their religion. But it is a dialogue of exchanging opinions, beliefs, and way of doing with respect. In this way, an atmosphere dialogue of friendship and fraternity, we will come out as a consequence. I think this is a path that can make the whole humanity one family and build universal fraternity with all other religions. Make ourselves one with the others, and starting with ourselves to love the others will build a civilization of love that will play a great role in building interreligious dialogue.
So thank you, Cardinal Francis Kringsakowit-Vanit, Archbishop of Bangkok, Thailand. In 1997, Chiara Lubich was the first Christian woman ever to have been invited into the inner sanctum of the Buddhist monastery in Thailand. Usually in interfaith dialogue, it is two parties, one on each side, opposite to each other, conversing. But Chiara had a very unique gift of making everyone feel they were on the same side, in one human family, even before the dialogue begins. In this way, interreligious dialogue in the Focolare has its unique characteristics, which fosters unity among people of different faiths without changing their beliefs. In 1995, one Buddhist monk from Thailand got to know Chiara Lubich. His Thai name is Pramaha Thongrat Rattanavano. He got to know Chiara in 1995 through her picture hanging on the wall in a city called Tagaytay in the Philippines. At that very moment, he felt that he needed to find out more about her. In the same year, he traveled to Italy to meet Chiara in person. Then he asked for Chiara's permission to stay in a community of men religious from many parts of the world, living the spirituality of unity in that small town called Loppiano, near Florence, Italy. At a certain point, Chiara gave him a new name in Italian, Luce Ardente, which means blazing light, and he became the first Buddhist monk, apostle of unity. Through him, many other monks got to know Chiara Lubich and the Focolare Movement. We will listen to Luce Ardente himself. Then we will have also Pramaha Bunchui Dujai. He's the chairman of Thai Interfaith Foundation for Social Development in Thailand.
Who is Chiara Lubich for you, dear Reverend Pramha Thongrat?
แม่เคียร่าเขาเป็น
For
นักบุญ
me, Chiara is a saint. She has universal wisdom and was able to gather people from all over the world to stay in Loppiano. There, they live the 7 colors, which means that we are different but not divided. These colors reflect Chiara's life. What was your impression when you first met Chiara? I feel that she helped me to be free of my thinking. Before, I suffered thinking that I would not be able to make friends with Christians and Muslims. But when I met Chiara, she gave me universal wisdom to know that we are all brothers and sisters. She taught me as a mother very simple ways that we must love one another, love always, love immediately, and love with joy. This is what Chiara taught me.
You have met many faithful of different religions, such as Christians, Muslims, and Buddhists. How do you feel whenever you are with them?
In reality, we are friends. God, Allah, and Buddha are somewhat like brothers. They are close to one another. And as human beings, we need the rain from above, air to breathe, food to nourish ourselves. Whether Buddhists or Christians or Muslims, they all need these things. So, when we meet one another, there is no need to talk about the Holy Scriptures. We can become brothers and sisters immediately. If you're hungry, you can eat. If you're tired, you can rest.
How did you share the spirituality of unity among other Buddhist monks?
Surely I was able to do it. For example, Reverend Monk Sucharto, who is my friend, was a strict Buddhist observer. I invited him to visit Lopiano and he understood and became so friendly immediately because he understood the teachings of Chiara, which is very simple. She said that we have to love always. You are good and I'm also good. Let us put together your goodness and also my goodness. So I helped my friends who are also Buddhist monks to gain wisdom, to understand that we are different, but we are not divided.
After 25 years that you have known the spirituality of unity, what would you like to say to the members of the Focolare movement?
In Asia, there are many nations, religions, languages, and many cultures. I would like to say to members of the Focolare in this part of the world that we have to live the teachings of Chiara about the rainbow colors, which means that living in this way, we are not separated, but united as the colors in the rainbow. This is so beautiful because the rainbow is so various in colors, but yet united, and there is no division even if we are many. Let us put together our goodness. This is what I would like to tell you.
Being a Buddhist monk today, do you still think and remember Mama Chiara?
Truly, I miss her all the time because she is a light and she shows us that no matter where the places of worship are, that of Christian churches, mosques, or a Buddhist temple, these places are for worship and good people use these places to make good things. There are many holy people in those places and do not be ashamed. If you are Buddhist, go and make friends with Christians and Muslims. And also Muslims, go and make friends with Buddhists and Christians. This is the thought of Chiara, which is a universal wisdom. I would like to tell the world that we love them and try to build an ideal that can make history. We have to help one another in doing so.
The last question. Are you happy to be part of the family of Chiara Lubich?
I'm very happy. Before, I was happy already because I was a Buddhist. But when I met members of the Focolare movement, sons and daughters of Chiara, in their faces I saw beautiful smiles because they are happy. So for me, I think that Lopiano is heaven on earth where many sons and daughters of Chiara live.
I have discovered at least two very important innovations founded by Chiara Lubich. The first one is the forum called Buddhist and Christian Symposium, started in 2004 in Cotton Gandolfo, outside of Rome. I accompanied Prajan Thong Sirimangalo to attend and present the paper. Chiara Lubich explained the Christian love of her personal experience and that of the Focolare movement, especially the universal love of Jesus, full of compassion, and who gave his life out of love for all mankind. Chiara Lubich said, to build up solidarity, fraternity, and to use Christian love to touch everybody's heart without prejudice is called the art of love. The symposium continues every 2 years in Rome, in Osaka, Japan, in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and in Taiwan. The second innovation is Citadel. Lopiano, a small town founded by Chiara Lubich and her friends, is the first international citadel of Focolare Movement near Florence, where the spiritual dimensions permeates and animates all aspects of social life. Lopiano is active part of a network of reality distributed over the 5 continents, inspired by the same idea of unity and fraternity. Pope Francis, while visit Lopiano in May 10, 2018, said, its inhabitants in fact make a real pact, try to live this praise of the gospel in every area and at every moment of the day. In the continuous commitment to welcome and love those you meet, with simplicity, hospitality, and mutual mercies. A life proposal that involves in freedom and diversity, even those who came to visit, and which ensures that in Lopiano everyone feels at home. The Caritas Spiritual Center for Religious, which is part of Lopiano, developed initiative for information in the spirituality of unity. Caritas arose on the inspiration of Chiara Lubich, who gave the gospel praise as a program. The light you have given me, I have given them, so that they may be one like you and I. At that time, when Pope Francis visited Lopiano, I was in Caritas in Lopiano, living with Catholic priests from different denominations for 5 weeks. We have learned to live our life in the spirituality of love and unity. I'm very thankful to all fathers from different denominations, those who welcome me to live with them and to learn many things from them at Caritas in Lopiano. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So we've just heard from 2 Buddhist monks in Thailand sharing about their encounters with Chiara and the Focolare movement. Now, Chiara has also understood that God is not only good, but beautiful. So artists have been inspired by her as well. Now we will have a short musical interlude, a presentation from Anna A. and Marie Law, 2 members of the Focolare movement in Thailand and Myanmar, on the violin and the flute. thank you, Anae and Marie-Laure. So now we're going to hear more experiences, this time from two of our friends who are also Buddhists. The first experience is from Priyanut, or Tom Tam as she's known, who is a teacher at the Nakhon Phanom University in Thailand. Then we'll hear from Samjit, who was also very close to Chiara Lubich. He met Chiara in 1990 when he was a university student. In that year, he also met Pope John Paul II as a representative of the Buddhist youth from the Focolare Movement in Thailand. Now, when he first met the movement, Samjit was struck by just how much the Focolare was just like a family, warm and close-knit and full of love. So now let's hear how Chiara Lubich has inspired them in their faith.
On this occasion, it is with great honor to share my experience in meeting with Chiara Lubich personally on January 2, 1999. I was in Loppiano, Italy, at a house for young people coming from different places who are there to make the experience of unity and universal fraternity. It marked a milestone in my life. On that day, she gave me all she has in her deep heart as she did the same to her other children, that God is love. Yes, she transmitted love into my life. The gaze of Chiara on that day while answering my question always remained in my heart. It was a very intense moment because it was not only an ordinary gaze. Chiara has looked inside my soul and has transmitted in me a great light. Everything that happened in my life before that moment has found its significance. All who understand and live the spirituality of the Focolare movement, our way of life, our way of interaction, become reciprocal love in a communitarian way of life. It is the universal family where people love one another with the spirit of fraternity. The dialogue model of fraternity is the relationship between equals, each maintaining its own characteristic and diversity, which assumes the anthropological connotations of freedom and equality. By living in this spirituality, I understood the capacity to dialogue depends on the ability of inner transformation. The innermost of this ability is self-emptiness. It is brought about through a deep understanding of the mystery of love and suffering of Jesus crucified and forsaken, which Chiara has shown me her answer on that day. It is an aspect of God's love. As I am a Buddhist, I understood this mystery as to dwell in suffering with loving mindfulness. Mindfulness sustains man in his effort to dwell in wisdom and simultaneously produces loving kindness and openness to dialogue with others. And the meaning of self-emptiness makes us understand that man's acquiring such inner freedom, freedom from self, from negative emotions, and obsessive self-concern, is the essential condition for goodness and thus for social liberty. The light of the charism of unity that Chiara has generated in me a new life. It has guided me towards the truth, and I continue to live for bringing about unity through dialogue.
ค่ะขอบคุณมากๆค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับทุกคน
Hello everyone, I'm Samchit Suwanmanigal. I'm a Buddhist of Theravada Buddhism. At the beginning of the year 1988, I got to know the Focolare in their center in Bangkok. It was a very special occasion for me to meet 4 foreigners there. I got to know their experience of the Christian life they are trying to live daily according to the gospel. This has impressed and touched me. From there, I continued to keep in touch with them as would be in a family. I remained in contact with them and started to get to know them and learn from the youth group who live for a united world. I consider it as a challenge that they go against the strong current of materialism and consumerism prevailing in the society at that time. They have one characteristic: they love. Through the art of loving, they are able to overcome obstacles encountered in daily life one step at a time in the present moment. I tried to participate in different Focolare group encounters such as those of the teens, youth, adults, families, male and female, religious. This allowed me to open myself up to everyone, even though we have different religious beliefs. In 1990, I had the chance to participate in the Focolare's International Youth Gathering held in Rome, Italy. There I met Chiara Lubich personally. I immediately felt that she has enkindled the fire of charity in my heart. In a way, I felt strongly the inspiration to accept the invitation to live this way of life by making history for humanity. It may sound like a huge task or a fantasy, yet in my heart, it was the start of committing myself to be a part of the link in a golden chain, to move ahead without fear or reservations, and to turn it into life, into a dialogue of life. Even if 30 years had already passed, I still continued to live this way of life. I remember that I had the chance to experience this way of life in the Focolare's little town, Lopiano in Florence, Italy. There I witnessed a Christian life based on the gospel lived 24 hours a day. Upon my return to my country, I was ordained as a Buddhist monk, following the way of mindfulness through quietude of heart, samatha, and contemplation, vipassana, in order to integrate them in living one's daily life to the fullest in the present moment. During that period, I had the opportunity to live as a Buddhist according to what I learned, as a monk reinforced by the knowledge and understanding I gained from the spirituality of Chiara Lubich as the foundation. At first it may have seemed like nothing, but I was encouraged to do my best. What came forth was the participation of Buddhist monks, Buddhist nuns, and lay Buddhists in the experience of interreligious dialogue, which allows us to grow more in the spirit of sharing and reciprocal help. Although I had formed a family for 23 years now together with my wife, Shintana, and her 2 daughters, I felt it was a rebuilding of a family and a marriage that was broken before, but is now redeemed with a supernatural love in our present lives. I believe that this is an inspiration brought about by Chiara, who transformed my life in order to carry on with my marriage and family life. As regards my professional life, I have been working in the tourism industry through a tour company as a tour guide for tourists in Italian, English, and Thai languages, a job that came about at the same time I was building my family. It is a career that is not at all easy. In this materialistic and consumeristic world, many people think that money is a god which can buy anything. Whenever I am leading the tour group, I try to introduce the basic Buddhist principles which are easy and can help to live life to the fullest in the present moment in order to do good deeds by forgetting the past and not thinking of the future. These are the basic concepts of mindfulness, living through quietude of heart, samatha, and contemplation, vipassana, which could be integrated into one's daily life. Through the tour and the explanation, it is in a way giving the tourist some answers in life. Trying to live Chiara Lubich's example, I am faced with more challenges, but it helped me to have a more courageous heart. However, I desire to study deeper my own religion in order to find a connection with others and be able to speak with them with ease. Thank you.
So really thank you, Kun Tom Tam and Kun Somchit. So we have been here quite a while. So now we will have a break, let's say around 8 minutes. So now we have 10, 16, so around 11:04, 11:05. Okay, so we see each other again after 8 minutes. See you later.
We are one heart, one soul.
We have one dream,
one goal.
We have one life, one chance
to make this whole world a home for everyone.
We are one heart,
One soul,
we have one dream, one goal, we have one life, one big chance to make this whole wide world a home for everyone. One heart, one soul, one dream, one goal, one life, one chance. Let's aim high, let's aim high, till our soul reaches the sky. We are one heart, one soul. We have one dream, one goal. We have one life, one chance to make this whole world a home for everyone. We are one heart, one soul. We have one dream, one goal. We have one life, one big chance to make this whole wide world a home for everyone. One heart, one soul, one dream, one goal, one life, one chance. Let's aim high, let's fly high. Let's aim high, let's fly high, till our song reaches the sky. We are one heart, one soul. We have one dream, one goal. We have one life, one chance to make this whole world a home for everyone. We are one heart, one soul. We have one dream, one goal. We have one life, one big chance to make this whole wide world a home for everyone. This world, our home. This world, our home. This world, a home for everyone.
So welcome back, everybody, from the break. We just heard again the theme song, One Heart, One Soul. So let's move on with our program. Now, we've received a very special letter from Giovanna Venuccio. So 54 years ago, Chiara sent 5 founding members from Italy to bring the spirituality of unity to Asia. So they started the Men and Women's Focolare in Manila, and from there it spread to different parts of Asia. So one of these pioneers who came at that time is Giovanna Venuccio, whom we call Jo. So after spending more than 40 years in Asia, she's now returned to Rome. So for today's celebration, she sent us a letter. So let's listen to it.
Roca di Papa, 28 August 2020. Dear all, today, as we celebrate Chiara's centenary, I unite myself with all of you in Southeast Asia. I remember my first contacts with many of you. I had a great desire to bring the spirituality, the ideal of unity. So what did I do? I began to pray. I was very aware of my inadequacy. I just had to trust God. One day, I read a sentence from Chiara, and I began to pray with these words. I'm here, I'm nothing, I'm zero. But I know that you choose the instrument least suitable to do the greatest things. Let me fulfill God's plan for me. Open a way for me every day, so that there in the place where you have put me, your desire that all may be one may be realized soon. I was so convinced of the value of this prayer that I communicated it to others who desired unity like me. And there was positive result. I know that people of all religions have the same desire, and we are many. We all want peace, harmony. Years have passed, but this desire has not died out. Indeed, it has been communicated to many others, and all of you are testimony of this reality. The celebration of this centenary makes Chiara's presence among us even more alive. She guides and helps us to realize her dream of a united world, universal brotherhood. And we always wanted to live in her light, to be bearers of her charism to humanity. I am with you, and I pray for what everyone has in their hearts. With love, Jo.
Thank you, Joe. So now we would like to introduce Bishop Emeritus of Canterbury Diocese, Bishop Lawrence Tianchai Samanchit. He was the one who first invited the Focolare Movement to set up in Thailand. That started with the first Mariapolis in 1976. He knows personally Chiara, and together with some bishops from different countries, he has also started a meeting with Bishop Friends of the Movement.
Good morning, or welcome to all Focolare of the world, of Thailand. On the occasion of 100 years anniversary of Chiara Lubich birthday. I wish the movement of Focolare will be the light and the soul of the humanity, so that the kingdom of God will come very soon and will be realized on earth and in the next generation, next life in heaven. Oh, God bless you all. I pray for you.
So that was Bishop Emeritus of Canterbury Diocese, Bishop Lawrence Tianchai Samanchit. So let's now go to another part of our region. We have some friends from Timor-Leste with us. Father Daniel.
Hello. Hello. I'm Christine from Timor-Leste, from Movement of Focolare in Timor-Leste. Boa tarde, good afternoon, everyone. Here in good afternoon. In my between Father Daniel and Agustus, the young Focolare from Timor-Leste. As you know, Timor-Leste, everyone know, but some of you don't know where is the Timor-Leste. Timor-Leste is located between Australia and Indonesia. We just got independence 18 years ago. So here, on behalf of Timor-Leste, I would like to share some experience of Chiara Lubich. As you know, we are from Timor-Leste. We know the Focolare Movement in Thailand. When we was in study in Thailand, Agus and me, and with a few other friends. And also now we come back from Timor-Leste. We still with the movement, still you made the movement in Thailand. So now we still active in movement. So the experience that we got from the movements, we join and participate in some events, Maria Polis, World of Life, and also Jing Fest in Philippines, and also Jing Rosso in
Atambua, Indonesia. We hope to continue this experience on the next month. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And now we have greetings also from our friends in Indonesia. So we have our friends from Jogja.
Hi everyone, many greetings from Indonesia.
And we are here in Yogyakarta representing all our friends who are following from our cities and islands.
I am Indonesia. You are Indonesia. We are Indonesia. One Indonesia. Hi everyone. Greetings from all of us. The Indonesian archipelago has 17,508 listed islands with 633 recognized ethnic groups who speak more than 700 different languages. Not only famous for the beautiful nature all over the country, we are also known for our various cultures. Although we have so many different cultures, languages, and islands, we have this motto of Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, which means unity in diversity. This makes us one by keeping in mind that we have one motherland, one nation, and one language, Indonesia.
nice. We are going to hear from 3 Muslim experts and leaders from Indonesia who are going to share with us their views on Chiara's impact on interfaith dialogue and unity. The first one is Dr. Yusuf Dawood. Yusuf is a leading expert on Islamic mysticism, Islamic thought, and interfaith dialogue, and has taught at various universities and also Catholic seminaries. In 2008, he became the first Muslim scholar from Southeast Asia to win the Nostra Aetate Pontifical Council of Interfaith Dialogue Scholarship from the Vatican.
We also have with us Dr. Diki Sofjan. He's working in the core doctoral faculty of the Indonesian Consortium for Religious Studies at the Graduate School of Universitas Gadjah Mada in Yogyakarta. He's also the editor-in-chief of the International Journal of Interreligious and Intercultural Studies. He's been collaborating with the Focolare Movement during international conferences.
Then we will hear also from Mrs. Alisa Wahid. She's the founder and national director of the Gus Durian Network Indonesia, or GNI, named after her late father, the former Indonesian president, Abdurrahman Wahid, who was also known as Gus Dur. Gus Dur was an important Islamic thinker and leader committed to promoting peace, justice, and respect for diversity. Both of them were honorary presidents of the World Conference on Religion for Peace. So, actually, he got to know Chiara Lubich personally during the World Conference on Religion and Peace in Amman in 1999.
Interreligious dialogue is one way to embrace openness. Dialogues cannot take place without the openness of those involved. Religious dialogue is important to reveal the closed mindset which for so long has been a feature of the interreligion relationship. Until now, shows that this closed mindset in the interreligious relationship can easily trigger misunderstanding. This misunderstanding can lead to prejudice, which is counterproductive to the interreligious relationship itself. To minimize the negative effects of this closed mindset, Chiara Lubich, with some religious leaders and peace-building activists in the world, promote a tradition of dialogue. She created Focolare Movement, dialogue forums, trainings, workshops which bring together like-minded activists who have the same aspirations. The forums are a place for the devout to meet sincerely and openly. Chiara, with her Focolare Movement, has developed a dialogue of religions in various forms and styles. Avoiding conflict isn't peacemaking. Avoiding conflict means running away from the mess, while peacemaking means running into the middle of it. Peacemaking means addressing those issues that caused conflict in the first place. Peacemaking can never be separated from doing justice. They go hand in hand. Peacemaking means having to stir the waters on the way to peace. Peacemaking means speaking the truth in love, but speaking the truth nonetheless. In this context, religious dialogue activists like me believes that interreligious dialogues organized by Focolare Movement, which established by Chiara, are very necessary to engender an appropriate understanding of the faith of brothers and sisters professing other religions. Through many dialogues, each side understands the problems faced by other religions, and so there emerges a feeling of sympathy and empathy which motivates a desire to work together to overcome the manifold problems of the world. For me, Chiara Lubich, with her Focolare Movement, is not only a meeting place for various religious groups to conduct free and open dialogue in a spirit of friendship and family-like environment, but Sunbright transgress the obstacles and barriers of religious formalism. I stand with Chiara that has provided me with invaluable knowledge and expertise in realizing programs of interreligious dialogue or interfaith dialogue in several regions in Indonesia, especially in regions such as East Java that have experienced misperceptions and prejudices that can ignite religious conflict. In this age of global disruption and turmoil from technological change and identity politics, there is a constant need for more dialogue and mutual understanding across communities. Improving social cohesion is critical to addressing many global challenges. Focolare Movement wants to enrich this dialogue process and contribute to the forward thinking on how nations can realize peaceful coexistence and harmony in diversity. I participated in many Focolare Movement meetings in Indonesia, and I was lucky to have an opportunity to visit her tomb and the Center of Focolare Movement in Italy. The program I joined at the Focolare Movement made a passion to stand tall in the struggle for harmony between religions in Indonesia and all over the world. Focolare Movement must be measured and judged due to its programmatic content and its strong track record in the field of interfaith dialogue needed in a divided world due to religious radicalism and fanaticism. We cannot deny that the role of the Focolare Movement has encouraged the birth of a new era of interfaith relations because people now have the courage to look beyond their exclusiveness. In today's diverse world, it is essential to understand and work with religions beyond one's own. I love you, Chiara Lubich. Al-Fatiha for you.
Chia. My name is Dika Sofjan from the Indonesian Consortium for Religious Studies here in Yogyakarta, Indonesia. To me, Chiara Lubich is the paragon for women leadership in religion. She has lived out not only a fruitful life, but with many promises and spreading of the good tidings and blessings for the whole of humankind. Through her life experiences and achievements, Chiara and the charisma of unity have inspired millions of people to be in the service of those who have been ignored, marginalized, or perhaps wronged in society. Chiara has instilled hope and courage to those living in a subaltern existence or suffering on the fringes of society that seems to be fast moving toward materialism, consumerism, and nihilism. Chiara has certainly taught the world community to open its hearts and minds for others to connect with God's grace and glory amid the hustle and bustle of contemporary life and living. I hope that as we remember and celebrate Chiara's lifetime achievements, we try as much as possible to follow her spiritual pathways by learning to attain her vision and realization, to be able to ultimately render our services to others before our own interests, whims, and fancies. In ICRS, I teach, do research, and advocate for critical interreligious studies and constructive engagement among the faithfuls and the nuns. I try to persistently appeal to the greater calling for humanity to come together in a spiritual journey and realize our ultimate concerns. Like Chiara, I believe in universal fraternity and that we are equal before the eyes of God, and that only justice, righteousness, and kindness to others can bring true happiness to this troubled world. And as I operate within the academic and professional circles, I am committed to join hands with the Focolare Movement to help realize Chiara's vision for world peace and spiritual tranquility for all. Grazie.
The first time I learned about Focolare Movement was when I read the name on an envelope addressed to my father, Abdurrahman Wahid. He was the chairperson of Nahdlatul Ulama, the biggest Muslim organization in Indonesia, and he was also a champion of democracy and interfaith dialogue and interfaith cooperation. And that was how he got in contact and worked together with Focolare Movement. Later on, I learned about Chiara Lubich from him, and I know how much he respected Chiara and the movement. And now in 2020, he passed away, Chiara has passed away. We try to continue his work on democracy and interfaith cooperation with establishing a network for his disciple. It's called Gus Durian Network Indonesia. And now we are working together also with Focolare Movement in Indonesia to realize our inspirations, dreams of a just and peaceful world.
So thank you very much, Dr. Yusuf Dawood, Dr. Diki Sofjan, and also thank you to Mrs. Alisa Wahid. Your contributions are very precious for all of us.
So now, our friends from Malaysia and Vietnam are here to greet us with a special presentation. Let's start with Malaysia. Hello.
Hello. We're the community from Penang, Malaysia. We would like to greet. Hello. I'm not sure whether you heard us, but
yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Hello.
Great. And now from Vietnam. Hello.
The movement has changed some aspect of my life. As I can see, putting love into action is more important than just talking.
The movement gave me a sense of belonging towards community, all with the same goal, which is towards unity. It also helped me to understand God better and how God lives in everyone regardless background, religion and race.
Hello， 我是 Ryan， 我在普世博爱运动里面长大的，然后这个普世博爱运动让我学会如何改变对生活的态度，还有解决朋友间的各种纠纷。
Wolf Line 我们一个月都收到，然后借着这个 Wolf Line， 我就警惕自己，生活圣言用在自己的身上。
1996年通过春福树林认识了普世博爱运动，24年来每月都参加生活圣言分享，从中获取其他兄弟姐妹的灵修分享经验，加强了自己在生活上的应用。大家都保持合一的精神，一起走向理想成圣的道路。
Non nước hữu tình ba miền xinh đẹp quá, từ những câu hò ý nhạc cùng bài ca. Ngày vui em đến thăm Hà Nội, gió chiều Hồ Gươm vang bóng thời xưa. 36 phố phường nắm cửa ô cổ kính, về đất quan họ hát mừng ngày hội ly. Ngẩn ngơ như bức tranh tuyệt vời, ngắm vịnh Hạ Long ngất ngây chùa Hương. Đến Huế rồi thăm dòng sông Hương, đường qua Vĩ Dạ chờ Đông Ba Ngự Bình. Thăm lăng di tích thăm thiên mụ, tóc để chầm vai nghiêng nón qua Trường Tiền. Đêm trăng buồn trên bến Vân Lâu, ngâm câu mãi đây dòng ai nghe thảm sầu. Bên đi bên nỡ ai mong chờ, xa rồi mà lòng thương Huế đẹp mộng mơ. Về Sài Gòn đọc qua lịch sử, từ lúc khai quang xuống miền lục tính xưa, cho hôm nay tương lai thêm sáng ngời, làm khách bốn phương đến rồi không nỡ đi. Đèn Sài Gòn ngọn xanh ngọn đỏ, thành phố xa hoa suốt từ 3 thế kỷ qua. Giang đôi tay hoa khôi em đón mời, cùng với năm châu Sài Gòn hòn ngọc diễn đau. Giang đôi tay hoa khôi em đón mời, cùng với năm châu Sài Gòn hòn ngọc diễn đau.
Oh, lovely. Well, thank you, Vietnam and Malaysia. So now we'll have another short break, 5 minutes, stretch your legs. See you later.
We are one heart, one soul.
We have one dream,
One goal. We have one life, one chance
to make this whole world a home for everyone.
We are one heart,
one soul.
we have one dream, one goal. We have one life, one big chance to make this whole wide world a home for everyone. One heart, one soul, one dream, one goal, one life, one chance. Let's aim high, let's aim high, till our soul reaches the sky. We are one heart, one soul. We have one dream, one goal. We have one life, one chance to make this whole world a home for everyone.
We are one heart, one soul. We have one dream, one goal. We have one life, one big chance to make this whole wide world a home for everyone. One heart, one soul, one dream, one goal, one life, one chance. Let us aim high, let us fly high. Let us aim high, let us fly high, till our song reaches the sky. We are one heart, one soul. We have one dream, one goal. We have one life, one chance to make this whole world a home for everyone. We are one heart, one soul. We have one dream, one goal. We have one life, one big chance to make this whole wide world a home for everyone. This world, our home, this world, a home for everyone.
So I really like that song, our theme song for this event, One Heart, One Soul, sung by members of the Focolare Movement across the region. So we're going to move on to our next topic about how Chiara's vision for a different world economy is a solution for our times. But before we do so, we have some more greetings from our communities in Singapore, Myanmar, and Indonesia, another city in Indonesia. So let's start with Singapore. Hello, are you there?
Hello, we are here.
Hi.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Warmest greetings from Singapore. I am Alve, my husband Ivan, and our 3 children. More than 70 of us are connected with you by Zoom from our homes. Singapore is a small country, and people call us the little red dot. But we are a truly multiracial and multi-religious society, with a quarter of the population being foreigners. This diversity provides many opportunities for dialogues.
The government here always promotes harmony and unity among people of different races and religions. As we celebrate Chiara's centenary today, we are more committed to continue her legacy, to foster universal brotherhood in our country, in Southeast Asia, and in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan and Elvie in Singapore with your family. Now we have our friends in Myanmar. Hello, are you there? Hello.
Mingla from Myanmar.
And finally, our friends from Indonesia. Hello, Medan, are you there?
Holy holy wa mu si hasara te be o tu fa te Chiara. Ya.
Wow, thank you, Medan. Thank you, Singapore and Myanmar. Well, now it's time for something more serious. We now have Lawrence Chong from the Economy of Communion Network of Asia Pacific to share about Chiara's proposal for a new economy.
Hi everyone, it's great to be with all of you for this great celebration of the centenary of Chiara. I'm happy to hear on this topic that's close to the heart of everyone in the Economy of Communion Asia, and that is Chiara Lubich's proposal for a new economy based on love of neighbor. Now, as all of you know, COVID-19 has devastated entire economies, so much so that the World Economic Forum has called for the great reset of the global economy. Therefore, it's important for us to examine the possible foundations on which to shape a better version of the current economic system. It is therefore interesting to note that in 1759, Adam Smith, widely considered as the founding father to the present-day economic model, said this: "How selfish soever man may be supposed, there are evidently some principles in his nature which interest him in the fortune of others and render their happiness necessary to him, though he derives nothing from it except the pleasure of seeing it." Adam Smith said this in his book, The Theory of Moral Sentiments, published on the 12th April, 1759. This is a lesser-known publication than The Wealth of Nations, which was published later in March 9, 1776. If the principles of Adam's book, The Theory of Moral Sentiments, was more widely practiced, we will probably have a fairer economic system today. Fast forward to our time, in the pursuit of greater wealth, inspired by the wealth of nations, the current economic system is much smarter at strengthening the invisible hand of the richest among us, while denying a fair hand to the least downtrodden in our midst. It is a class system, far from Adam's hope that the economy will eventually balance itself out. Unfortunately, in truth, a more deliberate systemic change in desires and economic design is needed. Chiara Lubich, the winner of the UNESCO Peace Prize, a Catholic woman, leader of the 20th century and founder of the Focolare Movement, she inspired many of us in the fields of business, politics, education, and religion, that our faith is meant to be useful instruments to overcome divisions and bring about the common good. The movement that Chiara Lubich founded when she was in her 20s during the Second World War reached Singapore in the 1990s. Encountering it changed my life as a teen and my view of the world. Singapore in those days was focused on making money and being successful. So the thought of building a shared world as a priority never crossed my mind as being possible. But what I witnessed, a community that is always welcoming to people globally, that is capable of generating generosity by loving first, helped me understand that building a united world is possible. I became generous and willing to share because of my experience with the movement. But the thing is, no one ever told me or forced me. It is a consequence of seeing and learning. To help you understand the key principle roots, Chiara Lubich's proposal for the economy of communion, it will be useful to trace in brief the experience of Chiara and her friends from Trent in Italy leading to 1991, when she launched the Economy of Communion initiative. First, love of neighbor is the first step to removing the poverty of trust. During the Second World War, with all its atrocities, there was a deep lack of trust, and who could blame them? People did not have hope, as they witnessed immense horrors, even doubted God. Because of the lack of hope and trust, they hoarded instead of sharing. Hiding under bomb shelters as they reread the Gospels, Chiara and her friends first found hope by bravely believing in God, who is love, an idea they believe cannot be overcome by bombs. With this fiery optimism, this led them to love by giving away to those in need whatever they had. Surprised by this, because these were very young girls who did not show fear or look defeated, many people started to give to them so that these girls could help others. A large community of trust soon grew rapidly. Just to point out the practicality of Chiara's thoughts and actions. In the beginning, her goal was to solve the social problems in the poor region of North Italian Trent. Chiara Lubich soon learned that this loss of trust and hope in people and God was deep and permeated every level of society. So this fountain of positive humanity which Chiara and her friends had attracted scholars, politicians, religious leaders who were fascinated in this small group that seemed to be able to generate such enthusiasm for the common good and also bring a great diversity of people together. One example of this is in the 1950s, there was a large holiday camp in the Dolomite Mountains, which the movement called the City of Mary, where thousands of people from Europe would come for a few days or weeks to immerse themselves in this positive energy of the common good and unity. People would share meals, rooms, and understand how this vision of a united world inspired by Jesus can work. Among them, simple workers, teachers, engineers, even politicians such as the founder of the European Union, De Gasperi. Next, you need new ways of uniting people to renew institutions. These formative experiences of being able to inspire trust and mutual love across societal classes informed Chiara Lubich. She understood the inspiration of God for her was to bring about new ways of uniting people. When the Soviets sent tanks to crush peaceful demonstrators in Hungary in 1956, her act of defiance was to launch a global group of professionals who will be inspired by the gospel to bring about peace and unity wherever they serve. When youth in the 1960s were caught up with false promises of peace and freedom, she founded a global movement for youth to go beyond selfish desires and seek to serve others for a united world. In 1966, when the tribe in Africa faced extinction and is in need of medical aid, she sent not only doctors, but introduced a new way of service that respected the dignity of the tribes. Through these initiatives, there is a characteristic that underpins the thinking of Chiara Lubich. Hers was not a feel-good movement, but one with a set of tools for unity in different situations. Because she was a teacher herself, she understood how important it is to recognize the root causes of problems before introducing new methodologies to bridge division and inequality. Third, we need innovation to be born out of love to produce human-centered solutions. As she flew over Sao Paulo in 1991, she noticed the slums surrounding Sao Paulo and she felt pain to see this crown of thorns. So she wondered if there is a new way to bridge this inequality. There in Brazil, she proposed the concept of an economy of communion, a new generation of enterprises that will not just work for themselves, but will share some of their profits to alleviate the burdens of the poor around them, to form a new people who will commit to shaping a new economic system. 29 years later, 800 enterprises of different industries in 5 continents have experimented with this concept and proved that it is possible to build an enterprise on a premise of love for neighbor and be sustainable. We can also say with certainty about the following, that beyond pursuing the end of poverty, the economy of communion seeks to build enterprises that are places of well-being, filled with trust and respect for the dignity of each and every one. Above all, the economy of communion seeks to introduce a new systemic form of innovation to solve material, relational, and institutional poverty. In 2017, Pope Francis met all of us, the global economy, the global movement of the economy of communion, and he was deeply aware of Chiara's spirit. He gave us a new mandate when he said this: the economy of communion, if it wants to be faithful to its charism, must not only care for the victims, but build a system where there are ever fewer victims, where possibly there may no longer be any, as long as the economy still produces one victim and there is still a single discarded person. Communion has not yet been realized. Celebration of universal fraternity is not full. Therefore, we must work towards changing the rules of the game of the socio-economic system. Imitating the Good Samaritan of the gospel is not enough. Today, in Southeast Asia, through different enterprises and social work, the Focolare Movement applies the economy of communion not just to love our brothers and sisters in need, but above all, to bring about a new humanity and economic culture that is hopeful, capable of giving dignity to everyone. The adventure continues. Thank you.
We have with us also Luigi Butteri. He is from Italy but lives in Thailand. He's going to share about how the Focolare Movement in Southeast Asia is doing for the most needy in our society, just as Chiara did during her early life in Trent, Italy. So, Luigi, in a world where the COVID-19 virus has caused an upheaval in the life of humanity, almost in every nation on earth, as member of Focolare, as followers of the charism of unity, how can we respond to these huge challenges and make contributions for the people who suffer?
Your question is very important, and Amos, the president of the Focolare and the entire movement, has already answered it in the recent months. She has invited all the members for a communion of goods and even a greater sharing. We were called to review our way of living and spending, and therefore to share with others who are in need. The message of unity must be conveyed more and more by a concrete commitment to those who suffer. As Scripture teaches us, to a brother who asks you for food, you cannot say, "Go in peace." You must first feed him. Our zone has lived to bring a new style of economy and sharing. They have begun more than 10 years ago. We can say that they have been helped thousands of people in various countries. We are committed to a culture of giving with micro projects that make us glimpse the dawn of a new world, where concrete brotherhood is daily life. I will bring just a few practical examples of the dozens of works we have and experience we also follow. In Chiang Mai, the initiative of the teens called Zero Hunger have been and still are a sign of a movement that no longer wants to see people suffering from hunger. It is important that the children from an early age learn to open their eyes to those who suffer. The commitment of the Focolare here towards the poor in this period of pandemic has been constant, initiating a communion of goods and distribution of aid. Help has arrived from Singapore to help our poor. A whole community that has been raising a common action for the poor and needy. The works that are done in our area is perhaps small but significant. They are our response daily to so many people. In Vietnam, in this last period, an intensified distribution of help to 600 children who would have been on the road without this help from distance adoption projects and others is being done. The New Family Movement in Rome organizes and gives an important help. A local folk-up school supports and helps its 140 children and the poor families of these children. This school was founded 22 years ago by one of our priests now in heaven. His love continues to reach hundreds of children and their families each year. In Medan, Indonesia, many projects aim at students and their families. The projects aim at helping the most disadvantaged for school study, nutritional project, and many other compassionate acts that only true love and service can invent to help these children and their loved ones. Later, 3 of them will share their experiences. Between Thailand and Myanmar border with the Karen refugee in Mae Sot, for 10 years now, a project to help migrants and refugees living and working in the corn plantations near the border has been started. Their conditions are really very precarious. Children from the city of Latina in Italy, from Poschiavo, Switzerland, and many other cities send them help. At the moment, the aid reaches about 200 people. Before the pandemic, according to the United Nations, there were 81 million people fleeing their home from their countries in search of a new home. We can imagine at the end of this year what we will face in the world. The important thing is wherever we are, we become sensitive to the needs of others. The Holy Father Pope Francis has called all of God's people to this sensitivity. The reason why the whole movement is involved in these concrete actions in favor of the most needy is based on Chiara's words. It is the basis of every member's commitment, who concretely invented many initiatives to help students, family, abandoned women, the poor and the disabled. Chiara's prayer, who we are celebrating together today, reads, Lord, give me all the lonely. I have felt in my heart the passion that invades your heart for all the abandonment in which the whole world is immersed. Allow me to be in the world, the tangible sacrament of your love, to be your arm that embrace you and consume all the solitude of the world. Our love for Jesus forsaken in the difficulties of all humanity is a concrete love, made of listening, of tenderness, and also made of bread, rice, noodles, and eggs, because Jesus in that poor man needs it. May we be able to respond and commit ourselves by saying, I build the world united by helping others. Following this, we will hear the concrete experiences from Singapore, Myanmar, and Medan as a sign of celebration and Chiara's continued inspiration to each one of us. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anthony Tan from Singapore, and I belong to a branch of the Focolare Movement called the Volunteers of God. The Volunteers of God comprises of men and women from all social categories and professions who freely and radically follow God. They are committed to live out the gospel spirituality of unity in their daily lives. I have been meeting regularly with 7 other men volunteers in order to journey together towards God in the spirituality of the Focolare movement. After journeying together for over 10 years, we really felt that we are brothers. When COVID-19 struck, we had to stop our meetings, and it was a difficulty for all of us. After some time, we realized that we have to open up ourselves and reach out to one another despite the physical distancing. We started to meet via Zoom, and it helped us to renew our brotherhood and commitment. We realized that we need to reach out to all our Focolare friends in the region, being aware of the financial difficulties that this pandemic has caused. We also asked these Focolare friends if they know of people who needed help. After getting in contact with our Focolarino friend, Luigi, who have been staying in Vietnam for some years, we realized that there were many people in Vietnam, in the outskirts of Ho Chi Minh City, that needed help. They were already poor before the pandemic. Many are left jobless and hungry when the pandemic struck. We felt that we needed to do something for them, even if we are small and limited. Discussing together with Luigi, we decided to seek help from the Archdiocese of Singapore humanitarian aid organization named CARIS. We put together a request to them for financial aid for these hungry, poor people in Vietnam. After some evaluation and discussion, we managed to obtain slightly over 10,000 US dollars from CARIS, which will go towards sending out food packs for 150 families in the Binh Thanh district of Ho Chi Minh City. These food packs can sustain these 150 families for 2 months. We felt that we did very little in this project. In fact, it is all God's providence, and we are just called to say yes. Yes to reaching out to our brothers and sisters, to coordinating the project. We felt that we are in a similar situation as Chiara Lubich and her first companions during World War II. They also had the difficulties of the war all around them. Despite all this, they reached out to the people, loving and helping the poor around them. They said yes, and we too felt that we should do the same. For us, what we have done, it may be insignificant, but it is a contribution to answer the prayer of Chiara Lubich. Lord, allow me to be in the world the tangible sacrament of your love, to be your arms that embrace you and consume all the solitude of the world. Thank you.
Social revolution? Where does this idea come from? In 1962, Chiara Lubich said, "The gospel says that whoever wants to follow Jesus must leave everything they have and give it to the poor. It's the first step to take in order to follow Jesus." Give to the poor. Isn't this could be the noblest definition of social revolution? As Chiara once wrote, "You can only respond to love with love, love for God, as a response to His love for us, and you do this by immediately doing something out of love for your neighbor. Whoever we met in our life was given our full attention, our care, our kindness." As a response to this call to love, we would like to bring you 2 stories, Sister Bibiana Bia and Christopher Solwing. Sister Bibiana Bia, the eldest daughter of 12 children, was in her novitiate when her father died, leaving her mother alone to bring ahead the family without any support from anybody.
My collaboration with the Focolare and this project with some poor and orphan children is about 17 years ago. So that I'm quite happy with this project to work with Focolare. I'm the eldest daughter of the 12 children of my parents. So my parents are poor and simple farmers. So they live in a small village in the remote area, which is about 30 families in that village. So we are 12. We were 12 all born in that village. No? So my father died, leaving my father to bring ahead of the big family without any support from anybody. No? When my father passed away, my younger sister is only 2 years old. So I'm the eldest. I was about 27 years old. By that time, I was a candidate of the settlement to become a sister. I want to return to my family to help them because of that difficult situation. I was attached very much to my family, but I tried to detach with the sad and pain. I cried many times. But your project introduced the diocese of Tongji by that time. So Bishop called me out. I met with Marcella. We started our project with the poor and orphan children. Two of my younger sisters were put into the support of this project. And this time going on, I found a way to solve my problem, my family difficulties slowly. My personality, through collaboration with this Focolare of this project, I found more meaningful of my holy vocation. I was able to close with the poor and orphan children, poor family. Through being close with the poor and orphan children, I can live more universal brotherhood in my life of this holy vocation. I'm happy with that.
Sister Bibiana has been the Superior General for 3 terms, and she is taking care of a big percentage of minors in this project. In this moment, she is in the Center for HIV-infected children. Christopher Solwin is currently teaching organizational development in Sherry May Academy, a community development institute for youth.
I haven't known much about the Focolare since I was young, but I realized that it means a lot to me because I have escaped from financial hardship and educational obstacle by the support of the Focolares to vulnerable children. They continue providing me until I got a degree, and also they provide not only school fees and general materials, but also they motivate us to be able to be strong enough to face the world, to face the society. And we meet every year by celebrating Easter, Christmas, and New Year party with vulnerable children and also orphan friends. But later, I understand more about the life of the Focolare by joining Jen and Maria Poli's activity. Finally, Focolare means love, community, and unity. Chiara Lubich is a person who can inspire me to love my family, my friends, and also my students and neighbors, because she used to say about the love of God and the life of Jesus Christ. She has convinced my life to smile every day, and also she also convinced my life to share my things, my property to others, and also it really brings me peace.
Aside from being a teacher, he does a lot of volunteer work in giving courses in youth development in his region. This project, supported at a distance, is being carried out in collaboration with some local religious communities, priests and friends in Myanmar since 1995. This venture would be defined in this way. For the children, becoming a sponsored child means breaking free from the traps of poverty and becoming a person essential to the development of his country. For the sponsor, it is an act of openness that connects people and worlds that are completely different. All these years, we can count over 1,000 once young boys and girls who have received education up to their graduation and have landed to promising jobs. We have nurses, dentists, teachers, engineers, tourist guides, and even religious nuns. Probably not everybody received diplomas for higher education, and they opted to return to their simple life in the villages, but with a good basic education or started in a profession other than that of a simple agricultural laborer. This initiative is not to reverse totally the social situation, but a transformation from misery into a dignified poverty. A love that goes, returns, and expands. A universal brotherhood in action.
I'm Ronnie Fernando and I'm 67 age and I'm retired from the government service and I got 3 children. I'm retired now. When I entered the Focolare Movement, they asked me to find this place for helping the children, innocent children. So I have to find the place where the children are and have to find the local to find this place, and the Focolare give me the chance to help them in anyhow. So they asked me, so in Leilong I have to go to the village authority to find the children, and here the village authority sent me to find the children, and they gave me the list and I give it to the Focolare, and the Focolare accept this and they give the budget and we can distribute the eggs and all. And sometimes the Focolare ask me to distribute school books, exercise books and all, like that only.
D'Souza. I'm from India, and then for the last 4.5 years I have been living in Yangon, in the Focolare in Yangon. When I came to Myanmar, it was just coming out of isolation, so we were also limited in being foreigners. We were limited in doing social work. It was not seen very well or not understood, and it is difficult to express our love of neighbor in society, in an open way. But God always sends people to help us, and one whom we found was Ronnie. So he knew the bureaucracy quite well and how to go about it and how to do things. So he knew the movement before the men's Focolare even started. He established contact with some areas which were really poor, identified as poor, and he got in touch with the authorities there and ensured that we could do what we were doing, and that is how we were able to start this 2 eggs per week project for children in Yangon. We put 2 eggs at that time it was a plastic bag, so that even if the eggs broke, the plastic contained the broken egg, and the mother of the household of the children could do whatever with those eggs. They could boil it, they could make poached eggs and cook it in water, and still use it even if the egg's broken. And initially we tried to test it out in peripheries of Yangon, and it was a success, and now we are operating in 3 locations outside Yangon. Around 215 children are supplied with this 2 eggs. They normally eat only rice. Okay, if they eat something at all. Many of them are from very marginalized areas. They are migrant areas. Mostly the parents have no job or little work income. So with this egg is also providing a bit of nutrition, protein to ensure that they don't be malnourished. It's not easy. It's not easy, but okay, it's something to start with, and it has been well received. See it by the children themselves, by the families of the children, by the donors as well, who are children across the world, who donate who save up money, the €1 or $1, and give it for our project.
Assalamualaikum. Peace be upon you and Allah's mercy and blessings. My name is Suyani. I am a Muslim. I am very happy that through the social center Sambar Harapan, I came to know the Focolare and its spirituality of unity. I have learned more to accept others as they are. In everyday life, there are often conflicts or differences of opinion, especially with neighbors. But here I was taught to always see other people with new eyes. I learned a lot about how to appreciate others and that our difference is not a barrier for me to establish good relationships with anyone. So wherever I am, I do not feel awkward to make friends with anyone, even though they have different ethnic and religious backgrounds. I always try to practice it in my daily life and also teach my children to be able to accept differences.
Yes, for me, I learned to see everyone as a brother. For example, where I work, there are Christians, but I did not feel awkward with them. I consider them as my own family. Together with several other Muslim friends, we are trying to practice what we have learned from Focolare. Last year, we were invited to share our experiences held by Franciscan families throughout Indonesia to commemorate the 800th year historic event of the meeting between Saint Francis and Sultan Malik al-Kamil. Focolare has a lot to instill in us the spirit of brotherhood in diversity. Thank you.
My name is Farhan. I am a Muslim. I have a friend and he is a Christian. Since childhood, we have been friends until now. We have never questioned religion because I myself am convinced that all religions teach goodness.
My name is Yamoguna Warubu. I'm a Christian. Farhan and I have been friends since we were small. We got to know each other through the social center Focolare. We always play together and sometimes also study together. We feel truly like brothers. Through Focolare, we also learned and are encouraged to live as brothers and sisters despite our ethnic and religious differences.
For me, personally, this is a very valuable lesson, and wherever I am, I try to get along with anyone, especially those who are different from me.
I'm Cristinus Munte. I originally come from Medan, but because of work, I moved to Carimon Island since October 2018. Chiara's message inspired me to start a new adventure in Carimon. Chiara gave me a new perspective in loving. I live in an official residence together with our head of administration and 3 other colleagues. We come from different places, religion, and ethnic groups. At work and also in the house, the majority is Muslim. In fact, I'm the only Catholic. I want us to be a family and not just people who live in the same house. This is not always easy also because the political situation in Indonesia, which is often mixed up with religion, still raises suspicion towards non-Muslims. But I always try to do my part in loving and offering sincere friendship. So after work, I always try to spend time with them, waiting for them to finish praying so we can have dinner together. Every time we are together, I take advantage to get to know them better. During the month of Ramadan, when they were fasting, I thought of making a surprise for them. Usually, during Ramadan, everyone comes home from work and directly go to rest. When they were resting, I started to cook to prepare a meal for all of us. When they got up, they were very surprised and pleased with what I was doing. And then we broke the fasting together. A beautiful experience also when they were invited by another Muslim friend to break the fast together. They also invited me. For me, this is already a sign of a good relationship already built among us. I do not give importance to the differences among us, but try to see the similarities that we have. To be able to love one another in building a harmonious world. Thank you.
So thank you all our friends from these 3 countries. Thank you for your dedication as our Pope Francis always emphasizes the special care for the poor, the needy, people on the periphery of the society.
At this point, we have some friends from Cambodia and Laos who would like to say hello to all of us. First, we have Cambodia, Visna.
Hello, everyone. I'm Visna. I come from Cambodia. Hello, everyone. We are here to represent the children of Chiara in Cambodia.
Although we are few and living far from one another, we try to live in the spirituality of unity in our daily life.
During this time of the pandemic, we feel that more than ever, the example of the life of Chiara help us to go on loving always.
We are happy to celebrate with all of you the centenary of her birth.
We thank God that her charism arrived also in Cambodia.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Sabadi, greetings from Laos. We are very happy to celebrate the centenary of Chiara Lubich with all of you. We would like to present a dance which represents unity, harmony, and oneness among different ethnic groups in Laos. Unity in diversity. Please enjoy.
that was a really lovely traditional performance from our friends in Laos. Now, at this point, it's almost midday, so we're going to pause for a moment and remember how, in our communities in Asia, many of us are still living in harsh realities. There are the refugees who suffer far from their homes. We have people who live under the poverty line, people who go hungry and struggle in their daily life, and people who live in armed conflict. And now, on top of it all, we have the coronavirus pandemic that has wreaked havoc in everyone's lives in one way or another. So let's have a time out. Pancha?
Yes, so we have 1 minute of silence. We pray in the silence of our hearts according to our faiths for the people who need our prayers. So thank you. So we have here again Glauco and Veronica. At this point, maybe you would have something special from your heart that you would like to share to us.
Yes. Thank you, Michelle and Bancha. Indeed, we are full of gratitude for today's celebration of Chiara's legacy of unity. We deeply wish and hope that we were able to encounter her, not only spiritually, but alive through the spirituality of unity.
We have almost reached to the conclusion of our program, but we still have something very special and very important. Greetings from Emmaus. Miss Maria Voce, President of the Focolare Movement. Emmaus, an Italian focolarina, a lawyer by profession, is the very first president of the movement after Chiara left us for her heavenly home in 2008. She has sent to all of us a special message from Rome. So let's listen to Emmaus.
Carissime e carissimi tutti.
Dearest all, we are at the conclusion of this day's celebration for Chiara's centenary on this anniversary of her birth on earth, of the great gift that God has given us through her. First of all, I wanted to greet and thank you. Thank you also for the beautiful program that you have prepared. Thank you for sending me a copy of the program through which I saw how much the charism has accomplished among your people and in your countries among different environments, and how much these countries have shown its capability of welcoming it and making it bear fruit right away. When Chiara made one of her trips to Asia, she confided to us that one of the things that had impressed her, please allow me to use her words, she said, "One of the joys I felt in this quick visit in Asia is to see how they do things seriously." I believe that this joy would be increased also today in Chiara, who, seeing you from heaven, would be Happy to see all your accomplishments. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank and greet in a special way all the civil and religious authorities, personalities, and our friends of various faith and conviction who have enriched this day with their presence, with their greetings, with their witness, but also with their precious and competent contributions. It would have certainly been a day of graces, a day of light lived together, which will remain in your hearts as an encouragement for the future. Now we are living a difficult moment all over the world. Difficult for this pandemic that has brought so many consequences in healthcare, in the health of so many people, but also difficult in the sense that this pandemic has underlined other critical issues. It has emphasized the existing inequalities in the economy, between social classes, races, between different opinions, inequalities of all kinds. And in the face of these inequalities, there's so much uncertainty about how to deal with them and how to move forward. This day that you have lived will surely help you face all this pandemic reality. Why? Because the spirituality of communion, which we live together, gives a new strength, a new courage precisely to seek solutions together in the face of these uncertainties. It will help us overcome all the new egoism that arises from these uncertainties, indifference, racism, totalitarianism, the desire to defend oneself against others, the desire to prevail over others. All these things are things that we must fight and that the charism can fight. The charism was sent by God through Chiara for all humanity, and we are called to give witness to it. Then, you also have another characteristic in your countries, which is interreligious dialogue. This too is an extraordinary richness because your interreligious dialogue, which is so varied, concrete, real, so alive, shows the world that it is possible to understand each other, that it is possible to meet, that it is possible to build unity notwithstanding all these differences. And it shows how beautiful this unity in diversity is, how enriching is the diversity of gifts that there is in all the different opinions, in all the various religions. So you can give a great example of this to the world. The world is waiting for this example. You have this possibility. You are privileged, and we are waiting for this gift from you. Today we are called, more than ever at this moment, to give witness both personally and collectively in taking care of each other, this concern for the other beyond any differences, to take care of the other, take care of the brother, just as the pathways that we have launched for this year throughout the movement also says, to take care of every neighbor, every community, of our families, of the neighboring families, of the people we meet at work and on the streets, caring by giving to that person we meet all the dignity that belongs to him as a child of God, and at the same time seeing what he needs, doing everything to meet his needs. And this is not only for the needs of people, but also for the needs of creation, for this common home that we are tearing down, that we are destroying with our hands, and which is the home of all humanity, that we must guard, that God has given us the task of guarding and protecting in order to pass it on to our neighbors. Of course, in front of all this huge amount of work, we come to ask ourselves, but how do we do it? Certainly, we are still at the start of the movement. We know it. And even Pope Francis told us clearly when he came to visit us in Lopiano in May 2018. We are at the beginning, but this does not scare us. On the contrary, it makes us think, who knows how many fruits and how many possibilities we still have. How many more possibilities of the charism can give us to make the most of it for the benefit of society, for the benefit of humanity that is waiting for it to build together, to contribute together with all the others to this united world that is our dream. We want to realize it in our small way by doing our part together with all the others. This is the purpose of these moments together, to make a workshop of this united world and then bring it to others. Now, I would like to address a special greeting to the young people, a greeting and a thank you, because you young people, with your enthusiasm, with your sprint, with the fascination that the ideal has on you, and that you give witness, with the joy with which you have launched yourselves to live the adventure of this day and all that is done in the work of Mary. You are truly a great part, a precious part for all of Chiara's family in the world, and not only for Chiara's family, but for all humanity that awaits this witness, to which you can give your strength and your incentive, your impetus. So I thank you, especially you young people, but all of you together, because I would not even want to make categories. Young people, not so young, all generations, all people of all faiths are called together to give witness that Chiara still has much to say to the world, and she can say it through her own people, through those who continue to live her charism. This is what we want to do, and I believe that this is the best way to thank Chiara for the gift she has been for us, and to give her back the joy that she continues to give us by making us live this extraordinary charism of God for humanity. I thank you for all very much. The new word of life that we want to live this month of September that has just started, give, and it will be given to you. I greet you really with this wish. May this give, and it will be given to you, be today's experience, and may it be a growing experience in all the days to come. It is what I wish for you, and once again, I thank you for everything. Goodbye.
Arrivederci.
Well, thank you, really, Emmaus. Real encouragement for us to live and to go ahead in these difficult times.
Really, it has been a wonderful 3 hours together. But of course, it is not possible to have presented everything about the Focolare movement in this short time. So if you would like to know more, please get in touch with the Focolares in your cities and the people who invited you to this session. Give them your impressions and feedback. We would love to hear from you. And I just got to know that we are connected to 25 countries. And we are follow 300 contacts of the Zoom and 200 contacts of the YouTube. At this moment, maybe you can already turn on your camera and turn on also your microphone. And we would like to take a group photo. I don't know how to do it, but let's try. We can try to turn on, then take a good shot.
Hello from the Holy Land. We followed you.
Hello, hello.
Thank you for this video.
Oh.
The video is still turned off by the host. Beautiful program.
Xin chào các bạn.
The moment to really greet everybody.
Bellissimo così. Bello, bello così. Bellissimo, ciao bellissimo.
And there is.
Picture, picture. India.
Photo, Michelle. You still remember me?
Thank you, Bancha. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you.
Yes,
thank you for staying with us.
Very nice.
Thank you for all those who ngobrol tayo kuncuay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Teresa, Adrian, and Johor.
Yeah, team from Jogja. Joey, bravo, kita na.
Joey.
Yana, wow, madam.
Trace Uncle for your translation.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Ya, aku tidak paham.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mancha.
Thank you to all our translators. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Moon and Esther.
I didn't see your face. Show your face.
Nice to meet you. Hello,
Thank you, Lori.
nice to meet you.
Terima kasih.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, Teresa. Thank you.
Broken
Siapa lagi yang kenalin? Claudio, mamma mia, che bello vedere, ancora in Thailandia.
Ancora.
Padre Claudio, ancora in Thailandia,
Sì, sì.
From Jerusalem. Chào đây.
Ciao, thank you for everything.
Hello.
Jawab mana? Ciao. Oh, Melbourne.
Australia.
Okay. Yang good.
Oh, Singapore.
Thank
you. Thank you very much. Zoe, thank you very much.
Our Joey Centenary.
Thank you.
Oh, Christopher.
And to our technician.
Yeah, ciao.
Technician, yes. In the background.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone who has made this possible.
Yeah, right, Michelle. You were good.
Thank you to the experiences. Thank you for the participants who have, been so patient with us.
Thank you, Michelle.
So shall we
Thank you,
all
Michelle.
smile widely and take a group photo? We can take a nice photo together. Thank you, everybody. Let's take a photo.
Thank you.
Say unity. How about? Can somebody do screenshots? Okay, we have to do a few times. Okay. Okay. Let's. 1, 2, 3.
Smiling. Don't stop smiling.
Oh.
Envy. Into the camera. Go, Charlie.
Please
Go, Lawrence.
Oh, Lawrence.
Smiling. No smiling.
Unity.
Veronica.
Hello,
Welcome.
Veronica.
Thank you very much.
Uh,
Tamag.
Ya Allah.
Thank you everybody for making this so wonderful. You do the translation.
next.
Translations. Thank you. Okay. Everybody, okay.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Okay, so
Down. Joey.
Adrian.
Yes. Pino.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
okay, thank you everybody
Bye
with us.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
A conclusion. The conclusion to this morning. The conclusion to this morning that we have spent together. Some of our friends from here composed a song for this occasion. Their song is based on the last words that Chiara Lubich has left us with, which is always be a family as we are now. So let's listen to their song. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to everyone who has made it possible.
Thank you very much.
So now,
Thank you.
bring the baby girl.
Bye bye.
Diversity is our key to enter everyone's heart. And it's a humble spirit, wishing the best for everyone. I for you and you for me, a whole network of charity. And the world will become a family. I for you and you for me, a whole network of charity. And the world will become a family. Whatever suffering, whatever joy you feel, I count it mine, believe it. And if you leave, we will remain united. You're my brother and sister.
Thank you, Glauco, Veronica.
Thank
you,
you,
Bancha.
Ciao Santa.
Santa, ciao Edmond Esther.
Ciao.
Ciao Edmund Esther.
Thank you, ciao.
Yeah, we eat
Thank you,
now.
Louis. Ciao, Helen. Ciao, ciao.
Halo Veronica. Hugo.
Ciao. Ciao.
So happy. Thank you, Veronica and Glauco.
We are still here.
Still here.
Yeah, we're still here.
Ciao. I have to go back to Indonesia now.
The chow never ends.
Indonesia. Okay. Thank you.
So happy.
Grazie, grazie.
I'm very happy to accompany, the meeting from the beginning up to now.
Oh, very good.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Great.
Oh, we
Very
prayed
good.
so much for you in this time.
Yes.
Okay. Ciao, ciao.
Take care. Let us pray for each other so
Yes.
that we can put in practice
Yes.
the doctrine of Chiara Lubich. Yes. We have to practice it in our daily life.
Yes,
In
yes,
our contact with all the people around the world, without any exception.
yes, yes, yes. And we are together in this.
Okay. Take care. Eh? Thank you very much for the invitation to participate in this commemoration. Yeah.
Thank you. Obrigado.
God bless you all. Goodbye. Hi, madam. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
God bless. Ciao, Monica and Sherry. Thank you very much.
Harry, thank you for giving voice to Emmaus.
Take care.
Thank you for Violet who did justice.
สวัสดีครับเชียงใหม่ แบบทุกคนสวัสดีเจ้า
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you, Bancha.
Ciao.
Ciao. Bye.
Yes.
Ciao, Lorenz.
Ciao.
Ciao, Liliana.
Ciao,
Anna.
Big celebration for Chiara. Ciao, Tim.
Ciao, Helen.
Let's sing together. Let's sing together. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Veronica.
Yes, special birthday, special birthday with this program.
Really.